One last thing that we want to talk about outside of overloading methods is the scope of variables. And it's really important, and we've seen this with for loops, but a variable exists only inside of the brackets it's are in. And so we're going to call these local variables. A local variable is a variable defined inside of a method or a loop or some other reference block. And the scope is the part of the program where that variable can be seen. And so the scope of the local variable starts from its declaration and continues to the end of the block. A local variable must be declared before it's used. You can declare a local variable with the same name many different times if they are in different non-nesting blocks. So inside of a method, and remember, main is a method. So let's look at a scope here. In this main method that we have here, public static void main, which is a method, well, this is method, could be main, we have a for loop. And the for loop starts a block. Now, integer I exists at the beginning of the for loop block, and it lasts all the way till the end of the block. If I were to do some code after the for loop, I no longer exists in memory. And inside of the for loop, J exists as soon as it's declared. And so the scope is when we can use that variable. So if we look over here at these two nesting blocks, and you've seen me doing this with my integers for loops, if I come into this method, x and y are available for anything below x and y inside of the method. So this for creates an integer I, which is only available inside of the for loop. So when I come to this other for loop, I can create another integer I because these do not overlap. And inside of this for loop, I can reference x because it is inside of the larger method. X exists for all of this method, even in any of the smaller blocks. It spills downwards. All of these spill downwards. But here, I declare I inside of the method block, and I try to declare it again inside of the for block, which is wrong. I can't declare it twice inside of the same blocks. I could remove the integer part here. So here we have a correct method where I declare x and y, and then in the for loop, I declare I, which is okay because it only exists in this inner block. And so later on, I can declare I again, and these are completely different variables. They're completely different parts of memory. And so even though the identifier is the same for us to the computer, this I exists. When this block is done, it goes away. The memory gets cleared. So when I come down here, I create another place, and inside of this block, the I lasts, and it gets cleared away. This is why in our methods, we can use the same variable names to make it more readable for us. And so scope is an important part of our variables to help us with naming conventions.